What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, and this is part, I don't know, 4, 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s of my looking at Apple's top 100 album list that they recently dropped. I love lists. At the very least, they give me an excuse to check out albums maybe I've never checked out or that I haven't listened to in a super long time. And something like this, claiming to have the top 100 albums of all time, is just awesome opportunity to revisit stuff and see if I can understand their logic in putting stuff on. So I'm approaching this as if this list is the submitted 100 list that Apple Music is giving 5 editors. I'm one of 5 editors. Don't know who the other 4 are. And so I can remove 20 albums, a fifth of them. I can keep an artist but replace an album. I've only limited that to 5. I might make that 10 when I get done with this, but for now I'm sticking with 5. And I can move anything anywhere I want to without taking it off the list. So far, I think I have removed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've removed 9 albums, and I've kept and replaced 2. So that's where I currently stand going into this 10, which is 70 through 61. We'll go backwards as we count down the list, and then I'll try to put an updated list on the screen when we're done. So let's get on with this. Number 70 is NWA's Straight Outta Compton. Yeah, we're keeping this 100%. This one isn't going anywhere. Might go higher. Probably should go higher. Again, we have a lot of musical genres we're trying to fit on this list. I'm going to leave it at 70 for now, but it's probably going to end up someplace higher. I mean, it's a definitive gangster rap genre album. I think one of the neatest things about it is, even though it's like decades old now, there's something really simplistic about like the music, the production. It's like a drum machine, a DJ scratching like crazy. I miss just old school scratch sounds. I think that makes this dates it, but also dates it in a really, really good way. You know, when you get a number of samples on here, but they're like used very sparingly, it really is just like, let's provide the most basic but necessarily essential rhythm for you know, the rappers to just drop awesome stories over. And you know, yeah, the lyrics are, say what you want about the lyrics, it's definitely capturing an experience, a time. I mean, it's a classic album. This has to be on the list. Probably should be higher. Probably going to put it higher. For now, we're just keeping it at 70 because, yeah. Number 69, Metallica's Master of Puppets. There is something I've noticed about this list, and this might be another example of it, is they're either, for my personal tastes, picking an artist's debut album, the album that makes the splash, that puts them on the map, and possibly ignoring later albums that might do the debut album better, but don't quite have that sort of like splash effect. Or they're purposely trying to ignore that debut album, that splash effect, and picking something deeper just because maybe it's a little more mature. And I find that there are so many times on this where like, I would pick the debut album, they're picking a later album. I would pick a later album, they're picking a debut album. This one I'm okay with. This is not my favorite Metallica album. It would be an earlier album from this, but I'm keeping Master of Puppets on here. I mean, yeah, it's one of the best metal albums of all time. Yeah, it's staying right here. I've been listening to King Gizzard's Infesting the Rat's Nest recently, because I'm reviewing those albums elsewhere on this channel, and that's where I'm at. And there's definitely some, like, there are a couple moments where I've had the album kind of on loop for a couple days, and there are a couple times when I've been like doing something and I'm like, what is this? I'm like, oh, am I listening to, I don't remember putting Metallica on, and it's like King Gizzard. So like, even like decades later, the influence of this album and just the influence of Metallica. Not my favorite Metallica album, but it's a classic. It's an S tier. It deserves to be on this list. Though I would, if I had infinite number of replaces, I would put another album on here. But I'm going to do Metallica one day, so I'm not going to give that away. Number 68 is The Strokes. Is this it? Is this a top 100 album? And my answer is going to be no. I think I'm maybe still not over the disappointment of like when this dropped in like what 2000, 99, 2000, I think. There was so much hype surrounding the Strokes. They were the next Rolling Stones. They were going to save rock and roll. This was going to be the band. Like, I never got over that hype. This album did not blow my socks off. Over the years, I've come to really love it. I think it's a great album. I think the Strokes are doing something cool here. I like the energy. It works for me. Top 100 album? Nah. I would even, and this is me, I would put Kings of Leon's second album above this. I think song for song, Kings of Leon's second album is kind of mining some of the same territory, but a little more swag, a little more energy, a little more rock. I would maybe even put their third album. Aha Shake Heartbreak is the first one, is the second one. Because of the Night is the third one, the one that has Knocked Up on it. I might even put that on this list prior to this one. Just doesn't do it for me. Great album, top 100. This is one where I think the hype is muddying people's perceptions of this album. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd love to be convinced, but I don't think I will be. Number 67 is Portishead's Dummy. Trip hop at its ambient, eerie, spooky, hypnotic best. Beth Gibbons' voice is fantastic. The beats are fantastic. Everything about this album is fantastic. I do like this album better than Massive Attack, so I do think it deserves to be higher on the list. Yeah, good album. Awesome debut album. Staying right here at 67. 66 is The Smiths. The Queen is Dead. And I'm going to keep this, though I might take it off later if I have extra takeaways. I do think their first album is better. I think it's more consistent song per song per song. I think the second half of The Queen of Dead is hit it out of the ballpark. The first half is a couple songs which I don't think are quite on the same level as the first album stuff. But I do kind of think the Smiths need to be on this list. I think they've kind of deserved that. So yeah, we'll leave this on here for now. Right at 66. It might, if it doesn't fall off the list, I might drop it closer to 100. But for now, keep that there. 65 is De La Soul's 3 Feet High and Rising. I'm moving this higher. It's staying on the list. This is a top 50 album for me. It is rap at its most fun, playful, eclectic. It's got skits, and I normally don't like skits, but they don't bother me on this album. It's got some absolutely fantastic samples on here. It's funny. It's silly at times. It's deep at times. It has that, just the cadence and the flow has just that early awesome rap, like just playfulness about it and like catchiness about it, and just, yeah, absolutely fantastic album. Yeah, probably going. I mean, the cover, those bright colors, like that's just the way this feels. It just feels fun and exciting, and it just, yeah, just absolutely a blast of an album. Number 64 is Erykah Badu's Baduizm. I'm keeping Erykah Badu on this list, but I'm taking off this album. I'm replacing it with another one of her albums. She has an album where, as her career went on, she did sort of something that was a little more experimental and all over the map, and a little more arty, and a little more taking chances. And I think that later album is better than this. Like, I understand putting this one on the list. I'm all for that. Badu deserves to be on here. My all-time favorite karaoke song, just for transparency's sake, is Tyrone. If you've seen me doing karaoke in San Antonio, you've probably seen me doing Tyrone. But I think she has a better album. I think she has an absolutely fantastic, does not get as much love as it deserves. Gets love. It deserves more love than it gets album. And I'm going to replace Baduizm with that album. So that's my number 3. I'm using one of my 5 replacements to put another Erykah Badu album on here because it is so good. But that'll be in the last video. Number 63 is the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Are You Experienced? I am keeping this one, though I do think Electric Ladyland should be the one that's on here. I think that's a double album. It's a complete experience. It's perfectly sequenced. It's it's got this like entry into psych music, and then you have these two sides of just deep psych blues rock crazy exploration. Then you kind of come out of it with a little more party environment. It's a perfectly sequenced double album. Like I think it should be number one. I understand putting this one on here, but this is one of those examples of like they went with the debut instead of the richer, deeper, more fulfilling, longer lasting, flavorful later album. But I only have two more replacements because I used one on Badu, so I'm keeping this here. It's defensible. Number 62 is Tupac's All Eyes on Me. Keeping this, like, it is over 2 hours long. This is like a 2 hour and 15-minute party. Like, that's the way it feels. It feels like Tupac had a party. He invited anybody who wanted to come drop some bars. They all came and dropped some bars. Everybody works. The flow works. The sequencing works. The hooks work. The lyrics work. Every contribution by every artist works. Like, it doesn't ever get boring. It's just absolutely a master class in like rap music and just absolutely beautiful. And it's one of those that like the more you listen to it, the more things are revealed because it's hard to absorb 2.5 hours worth of music in a single listen. So it begs you to go back to it and re-listen to it. And yeah, and it's absolutely fantastic. 100% deserves to be on this list. And then number 61 is Sade's Love Deluxe. This should be Diamond Life. Diamond Life, the debut album. It's slightly a little better than this one. This is the later one where it's still as good and you're still bringing all that you bring for your like nice smooth pop soul energy that just wants you to relax, but at the same time wants you to like relax with the right person and just the energy is perfect. Not going to take it off the list. I'll keep it on. It might fall later, might fall back towards 100. But I do think Diamond Life, I think their debut is better than this one. I think it's just a little bit stronger, a little more consistent. And if you haven't heard Smooth Operator in a while, that's the jam, man. It's still the jam. And then from there, the entire album just continues to just jam like in a very soulful, smooth way. It's absolutely fantastic. So yeah. I'm leaving it on, but I wish it was Diamond Life. But anyways, that's what they look like. The only one coming off in this case is The Strokes, though I have used my third replacement. I know there's at least one more album on here I definitely want to replace, so I may expand that to 10. I may expand that to 10, just because. But anyways, that's what they all look like so far. That's just what I have left on here. Those numbers are going to move around. That's what I've left on, at least for now. So, but anyways, yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Those are my thoughts on these 10. I'll drop another 10 in a couple days, and enjoying going through here and trying to see what they have. So it's been a fun journey. But anyways, that's what I got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me know your thoughts on these albums, and go listen to the good ones or defend the Strokes and tell me why I should stay on here. All right, peace. Talk to you later.